It's something different. It's that voice inside of me. No more feeling empty. No more rushing. No more pretending to be someone else. No more searching. I have one life. I can live an amazing life. I can be free. What if less is more? Less stress, less debt, less of arguments, less of proving your worth, and more of time, more happiness, more peace, more money. That's what minimalism can offer you. Discover how minimalism can grow your business and life. Go to aminimalist.entrepreneur.com. Each week, a minimalist entrepreneur with your host, Zurika, aims to connect you with real successful people who share their success strategies that you can use in your business. So, here's Zurika.
Hey everybody, this is Zurika from A Minimalist Entrepreneur, and today I have someone on the call. Her name is Shivani Bhagi, and I have interacted with her for a few moments now, and it's the reason I feel she's really unique is because firstly, she's followed her true calling, which is about being able to simplify her career and help and enable other corporate leaders to be able to do the same. So with that, I'd like to invite Shivani on the call.
Hi, Zurika.
How are you doing, Shivani?
Doing great. Thanks so much.
Cool. So Shivani, in your own words, if you can give a short description of what you do for a living, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm a career success strategist, and I run my own corporate training and coaching business. And essentially what we do is we help professionals get more aligned in their work, and through that they can accelerate their progression quicker and with more ease.
So basically you help people also to be able to figure out how they can actually move in their career as well?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. And basically, Shivani, before we can kick into the topic, I do ask one random question. And the random question for you today is, why did you move all the way to India from the UK?
It's a great question. I think at that moment in time, I was just so kind of doing the same and the same and the same in my career, my life and everything. And I just happened to be at that moment in time in my life, I was looking for a change, a big change. And an opportunity presented itself in India, Goa at the time. And it was just too difficult for me to refuse.
Awesome. Cool. And with that, I guess the reason I think Shivani has a unique blueprint is because she's done multiple things. She's always taken a challenge on. And so what I've asked her to do is actually simplify for us when there's so much of clutter that happens in the outside world, that we want to do multiple things. Maybe we want to follow our passion. Maybe we want to be able to actually do something which is not what we are doing at the moment. But then there is fear of, whether we will be able to make it. And that's what Shivani is really, really strong at, to be able to simplify and actually figure out what is it that you really want to do and how do you plan that. So she's going to be speaking on the topic, which is how do you find your unique blueprint. So with that, Shivani, I give it up to you.
Thanks, Erika. Okay, so I think I'll start with what we mean by finding your unique blueprint. So in my business, as I mentioned, essentially we're helping professionals get aligned with their work. So they're able to experience more success, fulfillment, and ultimately financial reward as well, which is equally important. And since a large part of our lives is taken up with the work we do, I believe personally that finding happiness in our work will translate into all other areas of our life as well. So when we find our blueprint, we're going to feel joy on so many levels. We operate from a place of creativity and expansion. And as you mentioned, we want to move away from fear. When we are operating, from our blueprint, we thrive inside and out and generally have a sense of contribution, productivity and purpose, which all come more effortlessly. And the point is, whatever we do in life, it shouldn't be hard. And that's really the key. So if any of the listeners here, if you're struggling right now in your work and you feel like you're spinning your wheels with nothing much to show for it, or you're having a feeling of disconnection or discontent in any way, then chances are that you haven't quite discovered your unique blueprint, or you're not using it in the right way. And most likely you're going against the grain, which, is something I've experienced in my own life. And that eventually does wear you out, okay? So the four things, or three things rather, to focus on for finding your blueprint are, number one, we want to first identify, okay, where we are currently. Number two is to identify where you want to be. And then number three is to identify the steps you need to take to get there. And then the fourth, if you want to add a fourth, would be to implement those steps. So it really is as simple as that. But, as humans, we tend to complicate things for ourselves. And that's unfortunately the reality of it. So if we break this down and start with the first, to identify where you're currently at, we would first of all need to start with our mindset. And that's where it always really starts, okay?
Yeah.
So what do we mean by mindset? So the experiences in our lives are a direct result of the actions that we take, okay? So the actions that we take are a direct result of the choices we make. And these choices are a direct result of our thinking and belief system. And that really is what we mean when we talk about mindset. So really and truly, success and fulfillment is an option for everyone. And success and fulfillment do not have favorites. And I personally think, and I see this a lot as well, is the biggest mistake people make is they wait for things to happen. They wait for life to present the perfect scenario to them. And a lot of times it's because deep down, we're just afraid of trying something new. We're scared of failing. There's fear around change, not feeling good enough. We don't believe it can happen for us, Or a lot of times what I see is that people just simply don't know where to start. So success comes to those people really who create the opportunities for themselves. And I stress this point, it's really important to know that anything is possible. And you shouldn't let anything or anyone make you believe otherwise, okay? Yeah. So if we start with where you are today and look at where you are now. So really, you want to ask yourselves, certain questions. And the first question would be, what value do I really, truly bring to my work? What can I bring to the table every time? Yeah, so what can I do better? And start to shift the perspective. Mm-hmm. So really, what a lot of people do is they come with the mindset of taking from their work. What am I going to get from this? What's in it for me? So what I suggest is to flip the perspective to the perspective of your organization, or maybe your customers, your clients, your stakeholders, and really have a look at what value you can bring in the service that you are delivering. And that's really the time that you'll start to get noticed for your contributions. And they're the people who start to excel, okay? So how can we start to operate from a place of service and really start to make an impact? Well, there's two things that I discuss with my clients, and we call it the USP, and there's two types. So the first USP is your unique satisfaction profile. And what we really want to do here is really understand how we feel about our current place in the world in terms of our work. So the kind of questions you want to ask yourself are, what's your interest and passion in your current field of work? What are the chances for growth or development of new skills? Yeah, because this is really important to satisfaction in your work. What's your relationship like with the people you work with? And what's your general motivation for this kind of work that you're currently doing? You've got to ask yourself the why. Everything has a why. Why are you doing this? And that why needs to be important for you. And the next final question is really powerful. So ask yourself, in the next 5 or 10 years, can you really see yourself continuing happily in this type of work? And you've got to be really honest with your answers here. Okay, so that's the first USP. The second USP you need to explore is your unique strengths profile. So So here we want to identify what makes you stand out, okay? So ask yourself, what strengths and talents do I naturally have? Okay, and we all have these strengths and talents. What sets you apart from everybody else? And these will be the things that you can do, without even trying. These are things that are authentically you, things that come very naturally to you. And what I find is that a lot of people struggle with this exercise, and it's because most people have a tendency to really underestimate their own value and their own power. So
I was just going to say that a lot of us actually undervalue what we can actually do. So it's really interesting how you've actually put it. So yeah, go ahead though.
Yeah, and that's really the point. And we work with a lot of people on just this point. So I'll share a quick example. This is before I even started my career. I was studying, I was doing my degree, and I was taking up some part-time work for some extra pocket money. And I was working for a double glazing windows company. And my job was literally to cold call from a telephone directory people in the evening, just as they were getting ready for their dinner with their family. So, the most inconvenient time to be calling people. And these are obviously strangers to us. And what we had to do was try and convince them to take up an appointment to discuss, installing double glazed windows in their homes. This was in the UK, where it can get very cold in the winter. Now, let's have a look at that strength that I developed from that. And really, just starting from there, I developed the ability to connect and converse with complete strangers with ease and confidence. And in business, this is a really useful skill. And this is a skill that I carried right through my career for the next, up till now, 18 odd years, right until the point where I was a senior project manager in an IT firm. That same skill was coming in extremely valuable in my day-to-day work. And a lot of these skills that we underestimate are completely transferable and we use throughout. So we want to identify those and utilize them. So as mentioned, a lot of people do struggle to identify strengths. So a good exercise that I recommend for people is to ask some colleagues in your workplace or ask friends in your friend circle to list 3 of your top strengths. And it's really good to get a perspective of other people because sometimes we just can't see it ourselves. And for those people who really want to explore this in depth, then there's a really good resource. You can just Google Strengths Finder, which is an assessment. You need to purchase a code and you complete the assessment online and you'll get a full report on your strengths, which is a really, really valuable resource. Okay. So that's that. And then we want to start thinking about aligning who we are with what we do best and look at ways to authentically apply this in everything we do to create value. Okay, and that's really the key. So what do we require? We really need to look at our passions and our values. So the kind of questions to ask yourself here would be, what's really important to you? What are your values, okay? And we've discussed USP. What is your USP? And then look at how can we combine all these and use that to be operating more effortlessly. And you see, when you are doing things that come naturally to you and you're enjoying your work, it automatically does become simpler and more effortless, okay? So how can we combine these to operate more effortlessly and enjoy what we're doing to experience more success as an outcome? So we've understood that it's important to take ownership and responsibility for creating opportunities in our own lives. So then ask yourself, what could you do going forward? All right, so where do you want to be going to? So could you, for example, start operating from your USP and capitalize on what makes you great in your existing workplace? Could you be going for promotion or a different project or a more high-profile role to stretch yourself at this moment in time? Or could you possibly move to a different organization or field altogether? Right. And all of these things are possible.
But Shivani, you know how you spoke about initially about mindset. So some of us are not in awareness stage at the moment where we want to do something, but we're not really sure what to do. And of course, you've actually outlined what exercises we could do to actually get there, But even sometimes, I guess, when you're doing these exercises by yourself, sometimes I guess it's still difficult. You're like really not clear as to whether I should change my field of work, or I should go and do a course somewhere, or upgrade myself into doing something completely different. That fear still remains, right?
Definitely.
So when it is in that moment, because someone might be listening to this call and wants to do the exercise, pretty much is doing the exercise, goes and speaks to a few of their friends or family members and asks about their strengths. But sometimes I guess, your friends or your colleagues will actually put you in a place where it's better to be safe rather than take a risk, if you know what I mean. What would be your advice for someone who is going through that transition phase in their life where they know they want to do something greater, but they just don't know how to go about it or to find what they need to do because they might have studied in a different field?
So that's a great question. And just that last point, I'll just start with that. They may have studied a different field. You see, a lot of us get stuck with that I studied engineering or I studied this. And especially in today's day, there are no restrictions. A lot of skills are transferable. So if anyone is in that state, what I would say is first, you got to check your own barometer. How unfulfilled are you in your current role? And if it is somebody who's identified that this is not it for me, it's going to be something else. I'd like to just first suggest that completely explore, put your 100% into what you're currently doing, and just know for sure, is it really not something you should be doing right now? Because a lot of people just don't give their 100%. Okay, so if you've done that and you've really tried every avenue in your current role or field of work and it's not doing it for you and you think there's something else, then I would really advise that you try and create an opportunity for yourself where you can explore other things that fit your passion. Okay, and there may be somebody out there who inspires you with the work that they do. Maybe go and shadow them for a day or for some time, go and interview them, go and ask questions. Maybe you already know there's something else that you could possibly be doing. Try and find a mentor in that field. And do some volunteering work. It's a really good idea. If you're the kind of person who wants to, not take such a big risk, then find ways in which you can step into this other field and just try it on for size. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, because everyone who's listening on this call, I think Shivani has given us really good laser focused exercises that we can do. And another thing that she spoke about is about being able to try something out before you can completely take that leap, right? And whatever phase you are in your life at the moment, when I was going down the path of like minimalism, I am still going down that path. Initially, I just started doing this exercise every day in the morning for 1 hour to be able to connect with people on LinkedIn. And I wanted to see how many days I would actually feel that passion to connect with people. And then once you know that that is something that you will do, even if you're really tired, you know that that's your calling. And Shivani has actually given us steps where we can figure out our strengths. We can actually connect with people and figure out what they think are our strengths. Also to be able to do an online assessment so that we know what are our key strengths, and then based on that to make decisions. But more than that, I think the best way for you to move forward, if you have connected with Shivani, if some of the words that she spoke about are practical for you, what I would suggest is go to her website, which is shivanibhagi.com. And I'll spell that for you so that we all know how to go to that particular website. So that's Shivani, that's S for Sierra, H for Hotel, I for India, V for Victor, A for Alpha, N for November, I for India, Bhagi, that's B for Bravo, H for Hotel, A for Alpha, G for Golf, I for India.com. And when you go to her website, you will be able to see how authentically she's tried to connect with people. And what I would do is click on the contact us button, send an email to Shivani, or actually connect with her on her Facebook page. And take it from there. Plus, she also has on her website where she has a free weekly newsletter which gives tips on how to be able to move forward in your own career. So Shivani, with that, I want to thank you so much for the amazing information that you've given. But if there is anything last that you'd like to say before we can end the call, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. I think the only thing I will add now to really, I kind of understand the focus what you're focusing on and what you want to give to your audience. The one thing comes up time and time again when people are looking to transition or to make a change is that a lot of people will stop in their tracks out of fear, as we've already discussed. But the main fear is for not knowing the steps or all the steps or not having the complete plan mapped out in front. And I think I just want to share from experience, my own experience and friends and family and my own clients is very rarely, in fact, I don't think ever have I had the full plan mapped out ahead of me. And the key is to just take baby steps forward, one day at a time. And each time you take a step forward, the path reveals a little bit more to you what your next step is going to be. So it's a bit of taking a leap of faith as well. So there will be a little bit of risk, but trust that if your heart is in the right place and you really have a passion, take the steps and the rest of the path will reveal itself.
Cool. Awesome. So with that, Shivani, I want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart. On behalf of me, Zurika, and my brother Neil from A Minimalist Entrepreneur, I want to thank you for actually taking the time to listen to what Shivani had to say, for actually connecting with us, for sending us amazing emails and sending comments on Facebook. So again, if you feel that you've resonated with Shivani, please go to her website, take that action. Go to her website, which is shivanibhagi.com. Click on the contact us, connect with Shivani, because she will be able to help you either transition into your next career path, or if you're wanting to start your own business, at least she can give you some direction which will enable you to take that next step. So with that, again, it's Zurika and Neil from A Minimalist Entrepreneur signing out. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
If you want to live an amazing life and grow a business that serves you, then visit aminimalistentrepreneur.com and sign up for laser-focused strategies discussed by well-renowned entrepreneurs. Be free. Own your life. You deserve it.